Welcome to Two Hypnotherapists Talking with me, Denise Mejia, in Delaware, USA.
And me, Martin Ferber, in Preston, UK.
This weekly podcast is for anyone and everyone who'd like to know more about the fascinating subject of hypnosis and the benefits it offers.
I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist.
I'm a retired medical doctor turned consulting hypnotist.
We are Two Hypnotherapists Talking.
So let's get on with the episode.
Okay, so let's get on with the show. Denise, introduce our guest.
To you again? I think most of our guests will remember Ilah, who was in our second series, but certainly very early on in the podcast. Because unlike us, as we said last week, she does practice past life regression. And so she very kindly came on to talk to us about that very fact. Thank you so much. And thank you so fast. You were so quick to answer me.
Sure.
I mean, you're always quick to answer me, but hey, quick to find me a slot in the program. Thank you very much.
No problem. Not a problem. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And let's talk about past life regression.
Yeah.
I've been told not to.
Do people come to you asking for that, or do you bring? I think this might be a good.
Yeah. No, It's a good segue. I don't advertise it, and I don't mention it in any of my hard copy advertising, but people do ask me if I do it. And then I let them know I do. And that's kind of the rule of thumb that I've learned. When someone asks you if you do it and you do, then do it. I have not done a lot of them, probably 12.5 maybe, over the last 6 years or whatever. They've all been fun. They've all been interesting. Some are eye-opening, and it boils down to when I had to take the curriculum class. I remember, and this is kind of my segue into that part of it, why even do it. The instructor, God love her, she's kind of like the expert at our alma mater, if you will. And I walked in with an attitude. I have a Christian background, and I remember sitting in the front row, head tilted, with an attitude. And the only reason I'm here is because I have to be to graduate. That was my attitude going into it. And I was just kind of ticked that I was required to take a class that I didn't know how to believe what this was. But she did rest me at ease. She said, right off the bat, it doesn't matter what you believe. This is not about you. This is about the client coming to you for an experience. And that's how she put it. And that really did. Okay. So then she went through the class and all that, and everything was fine. And then I never just thought it would be part of my, thing. And then one of my early on clients called and said she wanted to have this done. And I was in my internship, and I remember. So I'm talking to the director and his wife about this client, because I hadn't had the classes, the actual certification. And so they graciously gifted those to me so I could see this client. It was a pro bono thing. I guess they had gone, I don't know. Anyway, it turned out very well, and she was very helped. She had an anger issue or whatever, but and that's just kind of like, okay, well, give it a try and see what happens. It's hypnosis.
Do most people come to you because there's an issue that they have? The person who contacted me had been at a spa, and it was one of the many things that was offered, and she thought, well, that looks interesting, and so she did it. And she also comes from a Christian background, and she was blown away because she met herself in another life, sort of other things. But it didn't answer any questions. She didn't know she had any questions. So it sort of felt about, and she feels that she was abruptly stopped. It was a spa that was a definite, and I remember that it's much longer. They say it's much longer process than usual hypnosis. How long are your sessions?
Usually, I book a 4-hour block.
Right. That's what I thought.
And the client, we spend a good hour or so, and I even have some snacks because it's a long time. Usually
that's always a good idea.
Either the beginning or the end of lunch or something like that, whenever that time block is there. And I go through a very long questionnaire just to find out where they are and why it is that they want to do this. Now, they've already told me this in a consult call, I want to, but I want to kind of like be sure have this officially in writing or whatever. So I go through a bunch of questions. My last client, I wanted to, I'll use her as an example. It was wonderfully done. Now I do record it. They're in hypnosis. She was in an hour and a half. But here's the funny thing, where I don't remember all the details because I write them down and I record it, and I'm not, my memory isn't all that great anymore, but that's why I write things down, right? So, but I remember her saying towards the end, it's like an hour and 20 minutes in or so, and I'm asking all these questions and I'm just guiding her along, and she said, "No, I have to pee." Wherever she was in her past life, she had to pee,
and I can't find the bathroom.
Right, but it was like, okay, I'm thinking, does she really have to pee, or is she just going through some experience? And so this went on for a few minutes, and I'm like, and she was struggling, like physically doing a little reaction. So I brought her out of it. And I asked her how she's doing, take in a deep breath, get herself settled. And she goes, "I have to pee." I was like, that was what that was about. Okay. So, so I sent her the recording and she listened to it. And she said that she didn't remember most of what was going on. She talked to me virtually the whole time. But she goes, "That doesn't even sound like my voice." It was her voice the whole time. I mean, I was asking the questions.
Yeah, but mind you never, if you record yourself, you always think it's somebody else. It doesn't sound quite like you hear you.
Right. And I listen to me all the time, so I'm used to my voice. But there's the voice that we knew, is that my voice? And then there's this doesn't sound anything like my voice. This is like, it changed. It's like even her son said it didn't sound like her. So it was, but usually people in a past life, because I take them as deep as I possibly can, but they're also going to be talking to me. Yes. So there's some element of not as deep as you would go like for smoking cessation or something. So I have them conversating with me, and we go through the process of taking them back in time. And I kind of do a little spaceship kind of thing, if you will, whatever they're comfortable with. They're not afraid of heights, or if they're excited or whatever. I might do a little space or whatever, and then come back down. I
think you get a lot of that from people. Why do you have to talk to me so long? Why don't you just hypnotize me? Because I need to know things.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and it's not. It's not. Where do you feel? One of the questions I asked: do you have a place in life, or where you've lived, or have you ever felt comfortable in some place more than another? Country, city, state, street, a type of house, whatever. What has been your comfort zone in that? And I can work off of that. Some people might say, I love history, Middle Eastern history, or I love South Asia history. I love the history in China. I love whatever. They might love that, have a for that kind of, hunger for something like that. And that leads me to, okay, so now I kind of know where I'm going. Now, if I can get this information beforehand, before their actual past life, I'm doing a little research, of course. So get some history about, about that, it's been a while since I've been in college, right? For world histories, but I get enough information that I can at least talk to them with questions that might relate to that. And what motivates them? What is it? Every one of them have come to me for a therapeutic reason. Some it's been anger. One guy came to me a couple of years ago, and he just didn't feel like he was from this world. It just wasn't.
How long had he had that feeling?
He said his whole life. And he was about 40, maybe late 30s. So afterwards, I said, "So how do you feel now?" He goes, "About the same." So it's like he said, it just confirmed what he felt already. A lot of people from Indians, they love this. So I had a lot of clients repeat business, so they know everybody. And there's a pretty dense community here.
This
And
is a
so,
Hindu population predominantly.
Yeah, more Sikh kind of population. So
Okay.
they tell two friends and then they call me. So the word of mouth was getting out. So there was about a 6 month, and I did 4 or 5 in a row. Well, when I say in 6 months, when I say in a row,
Yeah.
they weren't day after day. I won't do more than 1 a week. They take a
No,
lot
it's
out of
time intensive.
yeah,
Heavens.
very time intensive. And I want to make sure they have the best experience. And that's what I want. I want them to have the experience. I talked to them about hypnosis. We do an actual hypnosis session, if you will. I do it the way I do my own conversion to hypnosis. And then I have a chair in front of my desk. And so that's where I start hypnosis with everybody who comes in on their first visit. And then after I know that they're in a state, I put them in state. I've given those beginning suggestions. I have them open their eyes. I have them look at me. I have them walk over to the recliner that I have about 2-3 feet away. So later they can wow, I did walk over there, didn't I? I want them to feel like they have control. I also set up safety nets while they're doing a past life. On one of my safety nets is their ankle. I'll have them make sure their ankle is exposed so that they know when I touch them, it grounds them back to here. If I feel like they're struggling or something's going on that they're not talking and I can see that their facial expression, something's going on, then I can't get through. I'll wait a while. I mean, I want them to gain the experience, but if I feel like there's anything going on that might be troublesome, then I'm going to grab their ankle. And I've already set that up with them. And I've already told them, if you feel me grabbing your ankle, you're going to come back to whatever reality, you're out of whatever you're into the here and now reality. And it usually jars them. I've only ever had to use the ankle once. And that was because, go ahead.
Have any of the clients, once they've gone through that experience, have they felt that something has been resolved for them? Or is this mostly, I just wonder if I ever lived in China? Kind of.
No, I don't get, it's funny. I don't get that. I don't get, I used to be this person or that person.
Okay.
I don't, none of that. What I get is they're looking at themselves now where they've been. And I also take them through because there's a birth and a death transition in every life. So it's like, how did you pass away? And you have to decide how you want to experience it, as subjectively, like you're in it, or objectively floating above it. But it's always a reason. I think there was some traumas in my past life. Usually that's it. One of my first client, she was angry for like 30 years. She was so angry.
As a child, she'd been angry?
No, she was in her 60s. So this started when she was in her 30s, and it was her boyfriend's son. And she had an altercation with him 30 years prior, and she hadn't seen him. But this was eating at her so much, she felt that this anger was from a past life. So, I took her through it. Now, I did notice that she got stuck in this life when we were talking about her life between the ages of 12 and 10. She doesn't remember anything in that time frame or before or after. But there was that age difference. That was like telling.
As she entered teen years. Yeah.
Yeah. But in hypnosis during the past life regression, she couldn't get any. She was in World War II in Germany, and she's Jewish. I think she had family that survived or didn't survive Auschwitz, but she couldn't get past the age 10, 12 in the whatever life she was in there. She didn't have a name. Nobody seems to have a name, but they do have like different genders. Are you male or female? Are you young or old? Are the people around you? What do you see? And I'm having them describe the scenery around them. Is it country? Is it city? What is it? Farmland, whatever. I'm having them describe to me. Now, I don't say those words like, is it farmlands? I don't want to
cue them. Yeah.
I want them to tell me what they see. And the last gal said that, when I was taking her through different elements, it's just black. One time it was in the country. One time I think both times it was a country. She just saw a house once, a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
house. And half the time she was man, and the other time she was a female. She said a couple times she remembers being a boy. There was times she remembers specifically that she was a boy. So it
Mm-hmm.
was interesting. It's usually that's the kind of thing. I don't get people going, I used to be Cleopatra. Oh, I saw.
Okay.
I think I don't get that. I know
Yeah.
that there's some past life regressionists that do.
It's part of the reason that most people the people who don't practice it tend to look a little bit sideways at it, because it's often, I was Cleopatra, I was Marie Antoinette. Rare for people to reference something they actually don't know anything about in this world.
Right.
So, Denise, sorry to interrupt, but don't you think that is down to our sort of misconceptions about what past life regression is? Because in the same way that people may approach Denise and I and say, you're not going to make us cluck like a chicken eye, because that's what people think about what we do.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's deceptive, because some of my colleagues, that's their experience they have and they give to their clients. But I follow a specific protocol of things that I've developed watching and looking at everyone's different ways of doing. And I need to do something that resonates with me the most. And this is what I'll explain.
And that's exactly why we do not practice it, because it would feel like we were having, it would just feel weird. Exactly.
Exactly. And I don't want that feeling. I don't want to guide anybody into anything. I mean, lead anybody into anything.
Right. Except into hypnosis.
I'll lead you in, right? And take you out. But there's just I'm asking him like a list of questions, any particular issue or aspect in your current life that you're hoping to understand. And sometimes I've had people not even do past life regression. Sometimes I'm not sure that's what they want. They're just maybe hurt somebody, but then I'll tell them, okay, we have to do a regular session first, and then we'll schedule a past life. Typically I want 2 sessions. I want a regular session just so they can experience what hypnosis is. And then some of the time they don't even go back to doing past life, just because
they realized they could fix the problem here and now. Okay.
Right. And it was whatever it was at the time. So it's very, it's a relief to me when someone does something like that. They come in for a regular hypnotherapy session and then they don't want past life. It's like, okay. And I may not do anymore. I mean, I'm putting it out. You're
not milking it for everything it can get. Okay.
Oh no. I mean, it's expensive for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not my jam. If they want 20 years of experience, I'm going to send them to somebody in LA. I have a friend, a colleague who's in LA, and she's been doing these for 20 years. Yeah. If they want that kind of experience, they'll go to her. She's great.
So if they're not looking to resolve a particular thing.
Right. If they want something.
I want to know how many lives I've had in the past. Okay.
Right. I'm not going to, I have no idea. It's like how many lives. And I even tell my clients, if we're doing this, you may need more than 1 session doing this. You might want 2 or 3. I don't know. And I'll discount the second and third ones, but no one's ever come in for a second one, so, which is fine.
For the most part, that it did answer whatever that question was that they had.
Or it created enough solace that they don't carry. So that's fine with me. I'm just looking at just where's their strong connection to what it is that they're trying to accomplish. And I try to take that therapeutic approach with it. I don't go into, when I'm asking questions, I don't go into, well, do you feel like you were angry in this life while they're in hypnosis? I'm not offering anything like that. I want them to tell me. So all my questions are pretty open-ended. What do you see? How do you feel? Are you hearing any noises? That's what I want to explore.
What kinds of things do clients come back to you, even if it's just, follow up? How are you feeling after a couple of days? You always send an email to somebody, ask them how they're doing.
Well, they usually contact me.
Exactly.
So they're still, it's almost like they're bewildered. It's like, did that really happen? Wow. And then when they go listen to the recording, and it's like I guess they have resolve. Resolve has occurred. It's happened. It's like, okay, they're fine with it. They're almost like they're content with whatever happened. One gal, I put her in hypnosis. We're doing the past life, and she was struggling, so I took her out. And we talked about it. She goes, okay, let's do it again right now. Come on, let's go. And she's like sitting back and like, okay, come down, sweetie. Let's give it a day. Okay. I don't know what was going on before, and I don't want the new ab reaction to come back, or anything. I don't want any traumas or anything like that. And so I don't recall that she ever came back.
Did any have clients ever said, no, that was a terrible experience, I don't want to do that again? It resolved something in them? No.
Yeah. Never a negative experience. And, and I do want to be careful of that too. I want to also be careful of someone's age when they're coming in. Because it is so expensive, and this is kind of on the legal ethical note, I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm taking advantage of a senior citizen. Even though I am one now, so
we are.
Isn't it weird being the same age as old people? So I do take care in it. Some people will call and ask me once they hear the price, let me get back to you and save the money. Okay. And that's fine. If someone's very serious. So when the last gal, she saved up 3 months and then called me. And I had been seeing her regularly, just in regular hypnotherapy. And she really wanted to try the past life regression. So she saved up the money and then she did it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Ilah, that some people are wanting to experience this in the same way that some people might approach Denise and myself, just because they want to experience hypnosis. Because, let's face it, there's so much misunderstanding out there about hypnosis in general.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is a unique modality. Okay, Denise and I both come from that sort of therapeutic angle, but therapeutic hypnosis is very different from, say, CBT, isn't it? It's an immersive experience. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think people, I can see why people want to try it, as in it's an experience, the same as some people might want to try scuba diving.
Right.
And, it's one of those experiences where you want to live your life to your full and try new experiences.
Exactly. No, I totally get it. Everyone that's come to me has been for a therapeutic reason. One gal, she had traumas, and she thought maybe if she just did this, she would be able to find out what her traumas are or whatever. It didn't resolve her traumas because
they'd happened in this life.
They probably happened in this life. And I get a lot of people they want to remember. It's like, for what purpose? Well, so I know. And for what purpose would that help you? If you remembered a trauma that your mind is keeping you from remembering, wouldn't that be to protect you? And it's almost like, oh, I never thought of it. It's like, let's do this. Let's see if we can take the feelings of that, and let's see if we can change that behavior a little bit so that it's not so frontal cortex, Put it in the past where it belongs, whatever that ideology is. And it usually, that's pretty much what it takes. My passion is hypnotherapy. It's not past life regression.
Careful, you might have people listening to this saying, "Oh, she doesn't want to see me." You if that's what your client is looking for, you're perfectly okay doing it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But I'm not going to tell them how many lives they've had or who they used to be or anything like that. They would have to tell me that, but it's not something that I would tell them. And there's a pretty long Q&A that I go through, tons of questions that I want to know, especially about their health, about their current life influences. I want to know about their spiritual beliefs. I want to know stuff like, life patterns and interests, hobbies, things that have been unexplained, their deja vus, what is going into. And then keeping away from age regression, because I'm not trained in age regression. And I don't, what I was taught is it can be dangerous when you start to do age and you start to mix in a bunch of fantasy. You know, so I pretty much will stay away from that. But I also want to know what their beliefs are about, you know, do they have spiritual beliefs of, you know, why they're, usually people do have some kind of a spiritual belief. That's why they want to do it.
Oh, Ali, you've just lit a spark in my mind with something you said then about deja vu. Yeah, we do. Well, I know I've had a deja vu feeling before now. Do you get them, Denise?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Ilah, yeah. Now, put in the regression into a different context. Then we start to talk about deja vu.
Yeah. Oh no, and that's what some of the experts out there they think that that's, you know, just our past life kind of revisiting for a second.
Okay.
There's not a scientific explanation for deja vu.
No, no.
Familiar moment that you've done this before. Where did that come from? And it's never been defined why or who or what. In the past life regression world, that's what they're thinking it may be.
Yeah, I frequently say there are lots of things we don't understand. For example, how we know sometimes when somebody is staring at us from behind, we can feel it, can't we? We can sense it.
Oh, yeah.
Or the one I like to ask Denise, because with her medical background, why is yawning contagious?
We still don't know.
Yawn is contagious. Yes.
Yeah, we
and even the word, now I want to yawn.
No, there's a lot of things we don't understand, which was why, you know, I'm happy to sit here and just listen to all this and absorb it. And with a completely open mind. And as I've got to say, as soon as you mentioned that word deja vu, then it just made me think of it very differently. Yeah. What would you like to say to anybody who's thinking about having past life regression? Okay, what would you like to say to anybody?
Okay, so if you are thinking about past life regression, just be aware of what it is you want to know. Make sure the person that you're talking to is qualified, that they've done it. You know, if you're their first, great, but make sure that that person has the confidence to do this. Realize it's going to be a 3 to 4 hour session. It may be less, but I book out a 4-hour block and they pay for the 4-hour block.
And you also need a sort of recovery time. Even for standards,
Yeah, we do it definitely afterwards. So we talk for an hour and a half. We're in hypnosis for an hour and a half. We spend about an hour. We have some snacks. I give them some juice or tea, just a time to chat, you know, kind of thing. I try to get them out there at the time I say I'm going to. And I do a lot of grounding afterwards just to make sure that they can, you know, move forward and etc. And then that last part, once they leave, I still have time. I have client notes, so I want to get that over to them as soon as possible. And so I write up notes and send them.
Do you work online as well as in person?
I have done one past life online, and it worked fine. The person just has to know that they can't be disturbed for those during this. There can't be anybody knocking at the door, ringing the doorbell, you know, or anything like that. If they have animals, find a way to keep them quiet.
No people, no pings, no pets.
That's it. People, pings, and pets. Exactly. I love it.
But also to know that if their house suddenly caught fire, somebody could come and wake them up and let them go. It's not. You're not.
Oh yeah, they absolutely.
There's another guardian watching you the whole time.
Exactly. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not too, I absolutely understand that. So if you are in a state of hypnosis, in deep trance or whatever, your mind already, the amygdala part is there to protect you. You're going to snap out of it. I mean, even the alarms in my building are deafening loud. So, you know, it would definitely startle somebody.
Ilah, we've filled the show up there. It's been lovely to have you back on. Thank you so much for coming on and explaining a bit more to us about past life regression.
Sure. Yeah. I'm happy to do it. And if you have any further questions, or if anybody does, by all means, give me a call. Happy to talk.
And we're going to put your contact details in the show notes as well, Ilah.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
You guys take care. Have a fabulous week.
We hope you've enjoyed listening. Please remember, this podcast is designed to give you an insight into therapeutic hypnosis and is for educational purposes only. So remember, consult with your own healthcare professional if you think something you've heard may apply to you or a loved one.
If you found this episode useful, you can apply for free continuing professional development or CME credits using the link provided in the show notes. Feel free to contact either of us through the links in the show notes. Join us again next week.